Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today I'm going to be doing a review video. I've been chucking out these reviews, man. I really like doing reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing a book that I'm super excited to review. It was so good, guys. This is one of my favorites of 2014. Actually, funny story, I went back to look at all my favorites of 2014 on my favorites shelf, and there's some good ones. I don't know how I'm going to make a 2014 favorites video, but it'll happen. I just don't know how. Okay, and the book that I'm going to be reviewing today is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. This is a historical fiction, romance, science fiction, fantasy-esque novel. It's jam-packed with a bunch of different genres in here. This book is about Claire, and Claire is from 1945. She is a nurse who was a combat nurse in World War II, and she's just gotten out of World War II. It just ended. She's just now reconnecting with her husband, who they've been married for 6 years, and they just now get reconnected and go on a second honeymoon to the Scotland Highlands, and they go encounter some crazy things. If you don't know what this book's about, which I'm sure you do, and my explanation is crap, basically Claire goes to this place called the Circle of Stones, or Craignadoon, and she, no, I don't have a Scottish accent, and she touches this stone and it thrusts her back 200 years to 1745, 1746, 1743, and there is a war going on in Scotland at that time against the British, against Britain and Scotland, and so she is an English woman in this time period, and she meets these Scotland Highlanders, and things just are crazy, and it's just an amazing ride. And yeah, I will say before I get into my review that there are some trigger warnings in here that I did not realize and that I was actually told to, because I guess this has some controversy around it, which I did not know. So I will say that some trigger warnings are it's very violent. There's some instances of rape and maybe some manhandling, some hitting of the female body of some sort. Yeah, so there's some instances of rape, maybe some manhandling, there's lots of violence. So Claire is a nurse, so be prepared for that. But yeah, I think that's all that I really wanted to warn you guys on. It's adult material. There's also sexual encounters in this book, so be prepared for that as well. It's an adult book, and it has very mature and adult themes, so I just wanted to warn you guys. Personally, I just did not think about these things while I was reading it, but after I discussed it with a few of my friends, they let me know that some of these things were a little more controversy than what I'd originally thought. So I just thought I would extend that warning to you guys, and yeah, overall though, it's a great book. I really liked it. Let's talk about the characters in this story first. First, we have Claire, first and foremost, and Claire is an amazing woman. She's very headstrong, very outspoken, very confident and sure of herself, and very just overall awesome. I just really like Claire, and she's really just regal, but at the same time she's gritty, and I don't know, she's got an amazing character development in this story. I think she goes through so freaking much, and at the end of it she's just a better woman, and I think it's just really amazing to see. Then we have her husband in 1945, which is, what is his name? Frank Randall. Frank Randall is, we don't see a lot of Frank Randall. He's a little more soft-spoken. He is a researcher or a historian, and so he is just a little more of the smart, silent type of guys, very soft-spoken, very nice, very sweet guy. This is all told in first person, so we don't get a point of view from him. It's all just what Claire perceives him as, and she really loves him, and more than half of this book is her trying to get back to him and trying to figure out why she's in this world and how she can get home, why she got thrust back in time and how she can get home to her husband. And so you have some fondness over Frank, but then enter Jamie Fraser, and Jamie Fraser is just Jamie is definitely a character that I love. He's awesome, he's hilarious, everything that he says and comes out of his mouth makes me laugh. He's so funny, very serious at times too though, and he's very sweet and very caring and kind, but at the same time he's very manly and a little dominant, and he's got a little more of a dominant personality. He's a little more like the man's man type of thing, like what I would consider, like what I would stereotype as a man's man, but at the same time he also has a softer side, so it's really a great mix. And yeah, like I said, he's hilarious. I love Jamie. Another main character that we have is Jack Randall, and he is a descendant to Frank, and he is actually in 1743. He is the bad guy of the story, I guess. you'd say, and he's very, very, very dark and very just not redeemable in any way, shape, or form. So it's very interesting to see him and like how Claire perceives him, because he looks a lot like her husband, and so her trying to deal with that. Not being around her husband, but seeing this guy that's really just an asshole and an all-around really bad dude look like her husband, and I don't know, it's just very interesting, and I think it adds a little twist to the story that I wasn't expecting, and I just think it's really, really good in that respect. I think those are like the main characters that we have. We have Jamie's family, and you have so many different aspects to the story, but I think those are the main ones that I wanted to talk about. And yeah, the characters in the story go through so much development and just go through so much, and I think it's so fun to see and just amazing. It's an amazing, heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, heart-loving story. And then let's talk about the world. This world is a historical fiction, but it adds some fantasy into it. You're in Scotland in the 1700s, and in Scotland in the 1700s, they were very superstitious, and they had a lot of old-time thoughts about druids and magic and all this type of thing, and witches, and it's just very interesting to see, and so there is a little bit more of a fantasy element to it, so it is just really, I don't know, it's really interesting. I will say a few of the things that went on in the story were maybe a little over the top, or a little, I wouldn't say they're far-fetched, because I think Diana Gabaldon does such an amazing job at like making the story so realistic, but I will say that there were a few times where I was like, wow, that was pretty convenient. And that is just, I think, what goes along with just a very long, drawn out story. You have some things where it just has to be convenient, otherwise the story's not going to work. And also the world in here is just amazing. I love the atmosphere of it. I love the Scots, and I just think that everything that was in this story was just very good and well written. And yeah, speaking of well written, the way Diana Gabaldon writes a story is just phenomenal. Her writing style is insane. It is so beautiful. It is so descriptive and dense. It is a little more dense, so if you don't like dense novels, I wouldn't recommend picking this up, but it is 850 pages, so I think if you're thinking about getting into it, you kind of have to know that it is long and dense and just very full and rich, and I don't know, I just think it's so amazing what Diana Gabaldon can write and how she can get her point across. It's just very, very, very good. Yeah, I really liked the writing style. Let's talk about a few things I didn't like. Like I said, things were a little convenient, a little maybe over the top, or just like dramatized, and I don't think that's a bad thing. In my opinion, it's not a bad thing, but it is something to watch out for, and if you do get a little bit like you can get to the point where you're like rolling your eyes a little bit like, really? Or what's this? What is this now again? But I think to me it worked out, so I don't know, that's, you know, one of those things that it's all preference. And like I said, again, it's dense, lots of history, lots of slow moving parts, and I think the story is strung together where it's like a major scene, and then there's like a slower scene that kind of transitions you into another major scene, and it kind of just transitions you. I never had that feeling of like, oh my god, something bad is gonna happen towards any part of the story that wasn't a major scene. So like when you have a slow scene, most of the time you're like, oh my god, something bad's gonna happen because it's just too perfect right now, or they're doing nothing important, and so something bad's gonna happen. But as the story moves on, you kind of get into this rhythm where it's like, no, it's just gonna go a little bit slower, and then there's gonna be a major scene. And that's when the bad things or the good things can happen, and overall it just worked out. I really did enjoy this story. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, added it to my favorites. I really like the relationship between Jamie and Claire. Like I said, we didn't see a lot between Frank and Claire, but we do know that Frank and Claire were close, and so I necessarily didn't find any heartbreak going into the story like for Frank. I just did not care for his character anyway, but Jamie's character I loved, and I just love them together, and I think they worked perfectly, and yeah, I just think that overall it's just a really great story. I think that it's just so interesting, and I just really want to get on to the next one, and yeah, I think that's pretty much all I'm gonna gab about this book. It was very good. This is a long review, and I apologize, but I really just had a lot to say. I will say also that I read the audiobook. I did not read, but maybe 100 pages out of this book at the end, because I really just wanted to finish it, but I did not read any of this book. I actually listened to the audiobook, and that's what I highly recommend you do, because the Scottish accents that Diana, I think her name is Diana Porter or something, I think that's Diana Porter, the Scottish accents that she does, oh my god, it is so much better than anything that I could ever do. And she talks perfect, like, Gaelic, and it's just, I don't know, it's just really awesome, and I really, really liked it. just really good, really good, really good audiobook. And then also we're going to talk about the TV show really quick. I did watch the first 8 episodes of the TV show, which is the first half of the first season, and I think that the way they directed it, produced it, cast it, built it is just phenomenal. They took exactly what happens in the book and just puts it right in the movie, no less, no more. Maybe a few things are emphasized a little bit differently, but I think it's building up for later seasons because later on in the world, I feel like some of the things that they are highlighting will become important, and for me, who's read the book, it was interesting to see what things were getting highlighted and me thinking, well, that could be important in the next book. So yeah, nothing was spoiled though for the next book. And if you've not read this book, I'd highly recommend, even if you wanted to try the TV show first, it doesn't really matter because they're so similar that you just get one from the other. You just get the same, and maybe the TV show will help you hear the accents in your head. I know I'm really bad at accents in my head, like I can never hear accents in my head, so, but maybe it'll help you, you know, translate it better, and I just highly recommend the TV show and the book. I think they're really good, especially if you like romance, because it's very soul key to this story, and yeah, if you like romance with a bunch of awesomeness put into it, I'd highly recommend this story. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have. I'm gushing about this story, I need to stop. Outlander, 5 out of 5 stars, like I said, favorites of the year, one of my favorites of the year, and yeah, just overall super good. Alright guys, that was a long one and I apologize, but I had a lot to say and I hope that you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts about Outlander down below, if you liked it, disliked it, what things that you thought were controversial, what things that resonated with you, things that you really enjoyed, really liked, things I necessarily didn't like, and the like. I said like a lot in that sentence. Just let me know down below what you guys think, what you guys are feeling, and yeah, I think that's all I have. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you go pick up this novel. Let me know if you do, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!